Welcome to the fight game with Icewater and Puma. UFC fights last week. Our man John Jones, light work with Gaines, and I just saw Gain. He was just scared. You could just see he was scared to get hit. He was scared. He was just fighting scared, and you can't fight scared in order to fight John Jones. But a submission in the first round. I sat there and all that hype, and then all of a sudden, within a minute or so, the fight's over. And I know I was texting you. I'm like, man, Jones looks out of shape, and he looked like he's been enjoying being a heavyweight as far as eating a lot, but it didn't seem to affect how he fought in the ring.
No, and I think it's like he embraces being a heavyweight, extra weight now. And the thing about John Jones, it really shows you how great he is. Probably the greatest of all time in that sport. And you got to think he had a 3-year layoff. 3 years. And he moves up in weight, not goes down lower, tries to maintain his weight. He goes up, ring comes in with a little belly, embraces the weight. And you might say it was quick, but he says, is that my fault? Is that my problem? I'm in here to win, and that's what he did. So, and then he called out the other guy from Cleveland to try to jump in too. So, hey, at least he's back and he wants to fight. So, I mean, at the end of the day, impressed by it. Say what you want to. I know people that you're paying a bunch of money for were not impressed and were mad, but you did the same thing with Tyson. So don't be mad at him.
Yeah, that's true.
You just fight who he fight and do what he got to do and entertain you, and that's what he's supposed to do.
So Valentina Shevchenko loses her flyweight title to Alexia Gracio, and I didn't see this one coming. I really didn't see this one coming. We talked about it last week. We just thought that this was kind of like, a formality for her to get to the next level and fight somebody else that was a bigger opponent. But Grasso came in with a 4-fight winning streak. She seemed to time Valentina's, turning her back to her to get to the rear choke hold and just choked her. I never seen Valentina kind of go out like that, but just you could see that her face was so red. And when she let go, it was just her chin was just white. Like Grasso was holding on for dear life because she probably knew that this was the only chance I can win this particular bout by just a submission. I texted you earlier about this fight and said, Valentina looks really, really thin. She really looks really, really small. And it just seemed to me affect her in the fight.
Yeah, when you think about it, if she looks that thin and somewhat frail, she's probably dehydrated from whenever, because she works out all the time. They travel a lot. And the one thing about the UFC, I would say that they've been living up to it, except for a few rare occasions, that if even your champions don't come in prepared, they can get beat. That's one thing where it gives me either they setting it up that way or whatever you want to call it. But when they put it out there, nobody's unbeatable. So if you don't come in correct, the so-called average person or whatever can take you down. And what they do is they just kind of recycle and say, all right, well, we're just going to regroup and we're going to bring that person back to see if they still want to fight. So like you said, Valentina had some things that were on the table that she wanted to do, but I'm not sure, if she's in that mode, that she still want to continue fighting. Because, I mean, considering what she's accomplished already, it's kind of like the Lioness, Nunes. And Amanda Nunes, what else do you have to accomplish?
Yeah, what's the motivation now?
Yeah, and the money's there, great. But as people that are getting older and have already done that, accomplished a lot of things, besides the money and the bigger matches, their legacies, both of them, particularly with Valentina, it's like one of those where her legacy is already set. Now all you can do is try to be the number one of all time, which means you have to fight Nunes again. But with your performance lately, what's the big deal? You had to now go back and fight 2 or 3 other people to prove that you're ready again? Maybe it might be time just to kind of, unless a no holds barred or some big crazy money comes your way, maybe keep traveling around the world and chilling and enjoying your life.
All right, let's go to boxing. Now, a fight we talked a little bit about last week, the Tony Harrison and the Tim Tszyu fight. I want to come out with some predictions this week. and I'm going to go to you first because they both have kind of the same percentage of knockout percentage. Um, Tony Harrison is about 6'1", Tim Tszyu 5'8". Harrison has the reach. So, what do you think's happening in this fight?
I think if Tony Harrison comes in prepared, which I think he will, because you're going over in the situation, and he really wants the Charlo fight. So, with that being said, I'm glad you presented and pointed out the size difference. The one thing that Tony Harrison struggles with is with opponents that are bigger than he is. And if he has a size advantage, it's going to be a problem for Tim Tszyu. Unless he comes off and does a miraculous boxing movement and use some hard shots to get rid of Tony Harrison or hurt him early, this is perfect for Tony Harrison to do what he has to do. And when you fight the Charlos and other people bigger than he is, then it causes a problem for Tony Harrison. But the fact that he's going to be the larger guy, I think this is set up the way he wants it to be. And if he is focused, he can have a dominant performance. It's not to say that Tim Tszyu is not a formidable opponent and he's going to have the crowd behind him. But from the wars that Tony Harrison has been in before and what it took for him to become the champion, he seems like he has the pedigree and the experience to dominate and win this fight. So that's why I'm choosing.
Okay, I agree with you. I think that Tony Harrison has a lot to lose, and he has to win this game. This is a must-win fight for him, and I'm not sure if I want to say that he'll get a TKO or a knockout, maybe in the later rounds with Tim Tszyu. I wonder how he's going to use his height advantage and his reach advantage. Is he going to stay with the jab? Is he going to set things up? But I see him going into Australia and coming out with a victory. I want to say TKO at this particular point, or a I would not want him to go unanimous decision or go for a unanimous decision because you're not at home. You're in Australia. So I would say if he really wants to win this fight, it can't go to the scorecards. He has to end this fight before those rounds are over in order to get that victory because we've seen this before. I remember Pacquiao going somewhere and fighting someone, and Pacquiao clearly won the fight, but he wasn't in his home country, and they took it from him. So
Jeff Horn.
yeah. So if I'm Tony Harrison, you got to get this guy out of here with a knockout or a TKO, or having them stop the fight because if you let it go to the scorecards, you don't know what's going to happen at this particular point.
No doubt. I mean, there are a lot of odds against him. A lot of the crowd's going to be against him. Tony Harrison, that is. So therefore, he's going to come out and be very impressive. So if you're not going to do that, why even take the fight? Now remember too that he's supposed to be a fill-in, a temporary fill-in, and Tszyu took the fight because he wanted to stay active, but he apparently thinks he has enough what it takes to beat Harrison. So he was a fill-in, and hopefully he's really serious about his business. I mean, he's been doing a lot of promoting with he has some couple female fighters that have been helping train, out of the Detroit area, Michigan area. So I don't know if he's focusing on that or if he really is ready has put the work in to come up and try to win the fight coming up soon.
Okay. What are some other fights that we should be looking at?
Well, you had the other fight coming up March 25th. It's around the corner in a couple weeks. David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. So a fight that a lot of people want to see. A lot of bad blood, a lot of talking going on. David Benavidez is looking for a way to prove that he's worthy of be getting back on top, getting another shot. Even some people say that he vanquished his own title shots and vanquished his own titles. Having titles, he just kind of gave them away by being not being responsible. And now he's trying to get back on point again. So with that being said, he's coming out there too. Caleb Plant coming off an impressive knockout win before, trying to get back up the ladder. Possibly that this winner of this fight may get a shot at Canelo or somebody else, or maybe even Charlo, one of the Charlos. So this is a significant fight for the winner. So a lot is on the line. Caleb Plant had showed knockout power in his last fight and his win. And then again, I think he's looking for more respect because a lot of people kind of downplayed him or looked down upon him once he lost to Canelo the way that he did. So saying he really didn't have no heart or chin or whatever. But Hey, this is a perfect opportunity. When he took the fight, I was surprised because I'm sitting there going like, you know, David Benavidez does not like you. You know that, and it's one thing to fight against a guy that respects you, but even David Benavidez's dad doesn't like him. So it's going to be some bad blood. So you got to be really focused, Caleb Plant, to get this done. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it.
Any predictions?
Yeah, again, I'm gonna say this. I like Benavidez early, but I think Plant's gonna beat him.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you why. And because I might be wrong. I think Benavidez can knock him out. He can really get to him. But for some reason or another, right now, if the Caleb Plant is the real deal, like he says he is, I think David Benavidez is very emotional right now. Even when he speaks, he talks about wanting to hurt and put a hurting and a beating on Caleb Plant. And when you come out like that, the smarter boxer can beat you because you will make mistakes. Unless he's able to channel all that energy. Some people can do it, channel all that negative energy and turn into a positive where he can use it in the ring. But by watching the body language and whatever, it's almost like somebody, like there was attempted murder, somebody shot somebody in your family. That's how Benavidez is coming at this. Like, I get a chance to whoop this dude's behind because what he did to my people, that's how his attitude is. It's just angry. And my question is, how are you going to use that anger and that energy when you fight Plant? So that's why I'm going the safer route right now. I would say Plant.
I'm going to go the other way because I think that's show. To sell tickets for the fight, to get people interested in watching the fight, to hype it up. You got to come out with that venom. You got to come out there. I hate this guy, and I'm going to tear him apart, and pay per view or whatever you got to do to get this fight to watch this. But I'm looking at Benavidez' knockout ratio or percentage is much higher than Caleb Plant, and that tells me that he has much more power and he has the capability of knocking him out. He has 26 fights, 23 knockouts compared to Caleb Plant's 21 bouts and only 11 knockouts. So it tells me that Caleb Plant has some power, but I think that to me, David Benavidez has more power. I think he will anchor that emotion to a victory, a TKO, or a stoppage in this fight. It's 12 rounds. So to me, like I said last week, I don't think Caleb Plant is that tough. Um, and so I wasn't impressed in the last fight that he had. He had a good outing. I wasn't impressed. And when you're in there with a beast or a warrior, let's see what you do. Because you were in there before with a beast and a warrior and you folded. So I look at David Benavidez. He needs to get this fight, get to the next level, and put Caleb Plant behind him. So I'm going with him with the TKO.
All righty, sir. All right. I hear you big time. All right. I see you big
You
time.
said big time. All right, another fight that we need to look at, man.
I was going to jump around, but I think this is the fight because they just had the first press conference today, April 22nd, Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Opportunity for Ryan Garcia to step up and really put a major name on his resume. That's a lot of people been waiting on, saying he's young, he really won't fight anybody. Golden Boy De La Hoya and this team have been holding him back, as a lot of people say. But now, with all of the drama being said, you said you want to smoke, as they say. You got the fire. You're not just got to smoke, you got the fire. And Gervonta Tank Davis. So, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Like I said last week, please check the show last week. I think Ryan Garcia is an internet champion, a social media champion, even though he has 22 fights, 18 knockouts. Who exactly did he fight to get to that? I'm putting my money on Gervonta Davis because this is a guy that says, hey, I got 3 or 4 more fights in me and I'm about to leave. And I know he doesn't want his record tarnished in that, leaving before 30 or around 30. And I think he's going to run right through Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is going to put up his best fight. He's going to try to match his fight to what he's been talking about and asking for all these weeks. But I just can't see him reaching and really fighting this softball in Gervonta Davis and really coming out on the winning end of this.
Yeah, this is going to take a special effort from Ryan Garcia. I think he would also have to do a lot of damage early because you know Tank Davis is known for kind of starting slower, kind of being more calculated in his approach. But I think he really wants to make a statement by knocking out Ryan Garcia. So he might go for it earlier and then pull back. But if Ryan Garcia is tough as he says he is, and Ryan Garcia does have power, and we know that the last couple of fights that Gervonta Tank Davis has been touched, so you can hit him. You can put some marks on him. So I think Ryan Garcia is going to have to really come out and show what he's capable of, and just show his talent. You got to do it early though, because the longer you wait, unless you boxing your butt off, the more dangerous Tank Davis gets. And you can be winning the fight. You could be a 5-1 in the sixth round. I mean, going after six. But the one thing that we've seen, no matter what, he can drop an uppercut on you. You can do it. It's just a dangerous situation. So you just have to be ready. And that's why I said I think it would take a special effort, which would make me lean towards Gervonta Davis finishing this. And I think the one thing that I see about Gervonta Davis is he's getting better at finishing.
Yeah,
he's understanding the mistakes that his, or in his corner too, are they understanding the mistakes that his opponents are starting to make as the time elapses and move forward in the bout, and he's taking advantage of it. Saying, okay, yeah, I see what he's doing. He's driving his hand. He's doing whatever it is, the adjustments they're making. He's becoming a better and I think a more patient fighter from that standpoint, which is making him better.
would you say this is the best fighter that Ryan Garcia has ever fought? Because I'm looking at his record, and there are no recognizable names big names that he's fought.
No question. It's the biggest fight of his life right now.
And so that's why I don't think he's going to meet the challenge, because the caliber of fighters that he's been beating is nowhere near Tank Davis's caliber right now. And so will he feel that power, kind of get on that big stage and go, oh snap, I can't fight this guy. I can't do what I said I was going to do to those guys, or the guys that what he did to in the past. I'm not disrespecting any of the fighters that he fought before, but to me, looking at his record, looking at who he fought, they're not the caliber of Tank Davis.
No, I agree with you 100% with that, but we say that about a lot of up and coming fighters, don't we? Mm-hmm. We just have to wait and see. So if that's what he feels like he's ready, then this is your opportunity. This is your shot. I mean, you're still talking about Shakur Stevenson from the same light. When he moves up and takes that same fight, people gonna say the same thing. Who have you really fought? So it's a step. If you want to be great, you have to take that step. Ryan Garcia probably want to take a step a while back. Oscar De La Hoya, we have some reports that they thought he was rushing too fast. People think he's taking the fight too quick. So, but in order to be great in this level, you have to take. I applaud him for signing the fight. Because, I mean, most people are like, I ain't fighting that damn Tank Davis. Did you see what he done last year? And he mad. And he got a court date in May. I mean, what? This might be his last fight before he goes to prison.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So you got a lot of intangibles and negatives against you. But Ryan Garcia said, you know what, the hell with that. I'm going to show you. I'm the real deal. As they say, you can't win. If you're scared, you can't win.
Yeah.
So I give him kudos for that. We don't know what's going to happen, but hey, more power to him. I'm glad he's stepping up. I love it. Because there's a lot of other people we wish would step up, but they haven't.
All right. Any other boxing news we should know about?
Just getting ready for some things. One thing I was going to say, there's a couple of things coming up, but we know this. I think they have a date now, May 7th. Nayo Inoue, the Monster versus Stephen Fulton, May 7th. I think that's in Japan. You talk about a fight. One of Philly's best going up against the Monster. Stephen Fulton is a handful. He can fight. I am so looking forward to this fight because these are two of the best guys. And the one thing about the Monster, I would kind of criticize him a little bit early. Said you keep fighting them little dudes, but he's making his way up to some competition. And not to say that Nonito Donaire is not one of the greatest of all time, but I think there's just a little difference as we keep rising up in the weight classes, where the power transcends or does not, and the quality of the opponents that he's going to have to face, the amount of quality of opponents in each class as we're moving up.
So the Monster has a 24-0 record with 21 knockouts, about an 88% knockout percentage, and you got Fulton at 21-0 with 8 knockouts, and that's like a 38 knockout percentage. The Southpaw, the Monster against the Orthodox fighter. If this is in Japan, Stephen Fulton has to be focused and try to get it done. I don't know if you knock out the Monster and keep it from going to the scorecards. I think he's that tough of a fighter. You're not going to knock him out. I don't know if it goes to the decision, but we got a lot of time to look at this fight a little bit later and analyze it and look at Stephen Fulton's, kind of history and his work. And we've been watching the Monsters work for a long time, but it just seems like when I look at that knockout, the KO percentage, it's like, that tells me that a fighter has a lot of power in those punches. And he's getting guys out of there. They ain't going to decision.
No doubt, no doubt. And I agree with that. I can see that, but still, there are certain exceptions depending on what's going on, because sometimes with those fights, and I mean, the Monster's called the Monsters for a reason, but as you keep moving up,
yeah,
you keep fighting better guys. And there's a reason why Stephen Fulton is where he is and where he's from, and he's a tough customer. So not to say that the Monster's not going to win, but Fulton is not a lot of those guys that's going to sit in there and go, well, I'm just here to get this check. No, he's coming in there thinking, I think I got a shot.
Yeah, this is a Philly dude. So this should be interesting to talk about in the next coming weeks to really kind of analyze and see what's what in this particular fight. You said you had one more?
Shakur Stevenson's fighting Yoshino April 8th. And the point of this, the importance of this fight is the factor that Shakur Stevenson has moved up in weight. And now he's moving up with the bigger boys, big fellas. And now it's going to open the door for other possibilities. So I think this is like his first move up in weight, first fight at this higher weight to see how he does well. Because a lot of people say, oh, his power, Shakur Stevenson's power is not going to transcend to a higher weight class. So now we'll see if he can do anything with that. And then again, he's putting himself in the mix at like around that 135 area, where we know there's a number of people that are waiting. It may not happen right away, but the Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson versus that fight. Also Gervonta Davis. There are a number of fighters in that area in that 135 mix that Shakur could fight. So, but he has to get through first with Shino first, just to see how that goes, because we're expecting great things, but anything can happen on any given night.
Yeah, Shakur Stevenson, 19-0, Fini or Yoshino is 16-0 with 12 knockouts, and somebody's old got to go.
But that's like you said, though. You said that Yoshino, the percentage, it goes in Yoshino's favor. But that's my point. With one of the best, we think is going to be one of the best of all time. How do you handle that while you're moving up in weight?
He's definitely a bigger guy at 5'9", compared to Stevenson at 5'8". I don't have the reach in front of me with Shakur Stevenson, but if the guy is 5'9", he probably has the reach over Shakur Stevenson. So, but the other caveat to this is, how does Yoshino handle a southpaw? Yeah. And Shakur Stevenson. So that could be another caveat in this bout.
That's true. So with that being said, though, but then also the other intangibles that Shakur brings to the table as well.
Yeah.
Especially when being able to in and out move and just wait and stalk his opponent. It's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm looking forward to it because it might be the best person Yoshino's ever fought, but he's probably not used. He's not used to losing. He's never lost. That's what makes it more intriguing, more entertaining.
Yeah, the last couple of fights, somebody's old has to go. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and this is the Fight Game.